Welcome back to another episode of AI Learn Today with me, Rufus Pollock, co-founder or founder of Datopian, and Daniela Popova, the CEO. And what would you like to talk about today, Daniela?
I was thinking today because in the last couple of days, I've had a bit of a bad experience using the AI. We get along quite well normally, but the past couple of days have been difficult. Our communication has been a little bit difficult. So I think, especially also based on this episode and based on what we've been talking about, and based on the fact I'm trying to get better in the prompts that I'm making and have clearer requirements and instructions for the AI so that the output is better. So I've really been putting effort and trying to be as clear as possible. Okay. I've been putting okay, that's what I want you to do. Requirement number 1, I need strict or I need bullet points. I'm literally writing out very specific, very, very specific requirements. And on a couple of occasions, it just ignored them. And then I start getting frustrated and I'm like, but didn't you read what I just asked you for? And then we start fighting. And then at some point, I feel like we start having the fight. Now I need to roll back and give all of this context. So it just happens every now and then. And I don't understand if it's just me or maybe there's something about it. The performance is not always great. Let's put it this way. Sometimes I get really awesome output, especially from the CLI sort of terminal. And the AI, the ChatGPT web interface, I feel like it's just more stupid sometimes, as bluntly as it sounds. But yeah, that's maybe something we can touch upon, and maybe you can share your personal experience as well.
In a nutshell, what you're describing is that there are times, at least, when sometimes even despite really specific instructions, the AI goes a bit AWOL. It's like misunderstood what you wanted, and often even recovery prompting doesn't work very well. And this is a common experience, I think, for many. I've certainly had it. I mean, I'm just going to give a concrete example where I was once wanting it to try. I was trying to work out, actually, which is another common thing. I wanted to export a whole chat. Now, on the command line, by the way, another reason why command line usage is so much better, you can export a whole thread without any problem. There's a built-in commands. It's so simple. But in my experience, for example, with ChatGPT, it's actually really difficult to export a single thread. There's no way I can dump a thread as like Markdown, which actually I find very annoying as a workflow, because often I do things, I use the phone interface or something, and then later I want to export it. Anyway, leaving that aside, the issue was I was like saying to it, can you turn this thread into something I can copy and paste? Like, take the way I thought of hacking it was telling the AI itself to take all of the contents of the previous thread and output it for me. Then I could copy and paste that one message. And it just, it kept going, not doing it, and kind of doing something different and so on. And I think one is that AI, when it doesn't know how to do something, is not very good at kind of just saying, I don't know how to do it. This is a general experience. They're very eager to please. They've been kind of trained so that the response is very almost sycophantic. And that includes always saying, yes, I can do this. And so, for example, in that case, it might have been that it was too much of the context window. I think eventually actually kind of managed to find that out from it. Like, it was just too much content. So obviously what goes on is a given process, what it's doing when you're using the chat interface, it's less explicit than when you're using the command line, but it's actually going to run out of context window at some point. And what it's often doing for each new input is it's taking what you just said and combining often some summary of what previously happened in the chat, but not the whole of the chat. And obviously when I ask it to take the whole of the chat and output it, it needs to load all of the previous chat. And, so these things happen. And I also think that your experience is common, that once it's kind of gone wrong, there's a tendency for it's difficult to kind of sometimes course correct. I mean, this is very familiar in vibe coding, that once you sort of wrongly gone in the wrong direction with your bug fix or your feature you're building, it's often much cheaper to start again, like literally just throw everything away and start again than try and fix something that's gone bad. And the normal reason for that as well is because of the way that it uses your previous input as context. It's taking some summary of what you previously gave it as, along with your most recent instruction, as the kind of overall prompt. Actually, like in the background, there's your, like please output this chat in this format, and please don't do what you did before. Please do this. But mixed in with that immediate instruction is a load of material from before. And so once that's sort of polluted, once the previous stuff is kind of polluted and kind of gone wrong, you're in trouble. A colleague of mine, Ola, actually, who's working on Flower Show, talked about this quite a lot. She was saying about refactoring, and we were looking at another code base, not actually Flower Show. We were like, oh, it actually just might be cheaper to start from scratch. Like, just really start by saying what should this tool do? Get that from the existing tool, but not look at the code base at all, because once you give it the existing code base and it's read through all of that, it's kind of a little bit infected with the bad habits of that existing code base. And it's quite difficult to sometimes get that. We've noticed it sometimes in refactorings can be difficult in this way. A refactoring in code is when you've got an existing code base, you want to change it. Particularly if there's quite like the existing code base is kind of bad in some way. It's not just like I'm refactoring to add a feature. It's like, oh, this is poorly architected. It's poorly designed. It's quite difficult sometimes to get that redone well because of, I think, this problem. And so yeah, this is a known issue. Yeah.
Yeah, several times I've tried, for instance, just saying, okay, I don't like this, please try again or reiterate or something. Based on my own experience, at least, it doesn't get better. Maybe it does for some people, because I've read somewhere that the iteration is very powerful.
Well, iteration, when you've already got something good and you're refining it. But if you've got something that's not good, like it's gone in the wrong direction conceptually. Like I also have this another example. I wrote a long article about like using AI for writing documents, and I was asking it to do research, and it basically kind of went off in the wrong direction. And then when I was trying to get it to summarize, it was just really hard to come back. So that's why I kept talking last time about this model where if you're going along and you're checkpointing, like you're writing out where you got to. My experience, it's also true that when you get to the context window, there's this kind of compaction effect. A really big tip is like if you've got a good start, for example, where you've got a clear description of what you were trying to do, but then it's gone wrong in the research, you can just boot a new chat and start from where you were. That's why I kind of talk about this checkpointing in the sense of writing out at points in the process to documents where you've got to. It's the same for a human. Like in a way, it's like if I keep telling you lots of stuff and I haven't told you, I haven't written it out, at some point you're just going to start forgetting things. Whereas this model where we write things out, means that when you do start new chats, you're in a better place. And it also is relating to this kind of reset aspect that once you've gone down a bad path in some way with the AI, you can just kind of say, okay, you're not going to recover. Throw this out and start from a new chat. So I think that's our message for today is really, checkpoints allow, basically rebooting is very effective. It's often better than trying to fix a bad line of inquiry or exploration with the AI. It's better to reboot.
I definitely agree. But just to say, I'm always anxious because I'm spending time. I'm talking to the AI, I'm feeding context. I'm literally hanging out. We're in a collaborative mode. And we've arrived somewhere, and then it starts going in the wrong direction. And I have this internal conflict, which is, but I already spent this time, and I already provided the context.
That's why you've got to do the checkpointing. You've got to say, okay, can you distill what we've said so far into a document, a markdown document here, or a Google document, or a Word document? Distill where you're at, and then check that. And if that's good, then you can keep going and you have got the advantage of the existing context. But the good part then is if it then does go wrong in a sense, or whatever, you don't say it goes wrong, if the kind of exploration doesn't go in the direction you're wanting, you can kind of re-roll back. But you're not having to roll back to all the way to the beginning of like an hour earlier of everything I fed it. You're rolling back. And also there are lots of advantage to that as well, that if you stop the work and you want to come back to it, there's a load of reasons. And it's why I keep saying that I prefer using the command line or Claude Desktop or ChatGPT's Codex if you're not so big on a command line. But basically the equivalent thing of working on your disk is it's way easier to checkpoint And there's no real way to do this in the web UI of Claude. Or, I mean, you can write in Claude, you can write project, you can write document. Actually, I don't think you can. You have to download them and then re-upload them as a project file. But basically, it's a very clunky experience in the web UI. So I just think this aspect of being able to write checkpoint documents out or write kind of distillation is really, really crucial technique in my experience.
Yes, and it's a big game changer for me. Thanks to you, I started doing it. I can see how doing it in steps. Okay, let's first focus on this. Let's create this document. If we're happy, we're gonna create this other document. And I'm really, I started talking to it like I'm talking to a child almost. Very clear, very structured, giving priority. This is what I want us to do first, and so on and so forth. And it is better. I need to confirm. I do have one topic for the next episode, but let's save it for the next episode, which is related to now creating too many files or not willing to overwrite or delete, this anxiety around it. But let's save it for the next episode, and let's wrap up for today.
That sounds great for next time, that we actually dive in and see how this applies in a real world scenario. Looking forward to covering that next time, Daniela. Okay, folks, we'll see you on the next episode. And if you want to subscribe, just hit the subscribe button below, or follow AI, come to the AILearnToday.com website or Substack. Great to be hanging out.
Thank you. Bye.